All right, welcome back, everybody. And we are on to the next part of Unity Basics. And this is going to be the shortest video by far. We're going to look at adding music, background music. We're not going to look at how to control it yet because we can actually use our code to control things like the volume, or we can disable it or whatever. But for now, we just want to add it so we have some background music. And in this tutorial, we're also going to learn about some null objects, which is just going to be a brief explanation. But let's bring in our audio that we're going to use. So in our assets here, I'm just in the core of our assets. We're going to right click and make a folder, and we're going to call it audio. There it is, audio. We're going to go inside there. And inside the required assets, this is update 2, which will be available for download. We're going to take the theme song. And the theme song will be an MP3, but WAV files work as well. I got the same file as a WAV, same song as a WAV file as well. And in order to attach an audio source to our scene, it's pretty easy. What we're going to do is we're going to go to, there's a couple ways we could do this. The proper way to do it is to go to your game objects and create an empty, also known as a null object. And a null object is basically a holder for something. That's the best way I could describe it. I'm going to call it background music. Okay. And you'll notice that an empty or a null object doesn't occupy any space within our scene. You can't see it. It's simply a holder for other things. And that's why null objects are the in my opinion, the correct way of doing this. So what we're going to do is in our components for our null object, we're going to add a component. And you can see I already have this in here. We're going to put audio. We got all sorts of different audio options, but the one we're looking for is audio source. We're going to click that one. And when audio source comes up, we've got all these options for audio source. And to add the background music, it is so simple. We simply take our music that we want to play and add it to our audio clip right here. So we've attached the music we brought in to the audio clip. We got all sorts of things in here that are super useful, like loop, which will allow the music to loop over and over and over again. So if it was like, you know, the background music of a game, you would want it to loop so that people don't hear when it ends, right? You can also adjust the volume, which is nice. And again, we can control all these by code. But, you know, by default, the background music is pretty loud. And so I'm going to set it down quite a ways, maybe 0.3 or something. See how that goes. But anyways, you have a lot of options here. Play on awake. That's another thing that is useful. So if you want to have the music play as soon as the game starts up, you would have that option on. You can also mute it. And again, all of this can be controlled from the code, which we'll look at later. But when we play our game, you will now hear the music. Hopefully you can still hear me talking, but we now hear the background music. It plays, and it's, you know, some kind of epic medieval music that I've got here selected for this unbelievably, you know, exciting game. But anyways, that's how you would add music. It's very simple. Later on, we're going to get into multiple scenes and stuff like that, where we would have multiple audio sources. Also, if people, you know, get killed or get hit, or we have an object within the scene that makes sound, that's going to be something different. But background music itself and null objects, that's real easy to add, as you can tell. So that's about it for this one. Stay tuned for the next one. We'll get into a little bit more advanced stuff, menus, and then we should be on our way to creating a game. We'll get into some death scenes and enemies and all sorts of fun stuff coming up. So stay tuned.